Earthling, the new solo record by Eddie Vedder, was just recently released. We discussed today on another episode of Talking About Records. My name is G.I. Sanders from NTX Vinyl, small chain of independent record shops in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. If you're not local, but you are in the U.S., you can shop online at ntxvinyl.com. Please subscribe here on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Greatly appreciate the support. We are here to talk about Earthling by Eddie Vedder. Pretty excited to finally hold this in my hands. His first solo record, proper solo record, since 2011. I have been living with it for the last week or so. I waited to actually get the record to spin on my turntable versus streaming it, which is something I try to do with albums that I have a high anticipation for, right? And being a huge Pearl Jam fan, this is certainly one of those. I was excited to see what Eddie would come up with. I have heard the single quite a bit. The 7-inch kind of came out early, not only with Long Way, but also the Have. So I was familiar with these two tracks, but I didn't stream any others. I did get the chance to see Eddie perform with the Earthlings backing band, which we'll talk about at the Ohana Festival in late 2021. So I had the opportunity to get kind of a sneak preview, if you will, in a live format, which was really cool. But haven't heard the whole record until recently. And so let's talk about this first. Why is this plain white cover here? Well, the album itself in streaming format came out in early February. The vinyl is delayed, not surprisingly, till later in the year. I haven't even seen a firm release date yet. But just prior to the record coming out on streaming platforms, Pearl Jam's 10 Club announced this fresh pressed version. Now, I don't really know what that specifically means, but what it means to me is that they put out a limited quantity of this version of the album, which is the full album as far as the music is concerned. It just doesn't have any artwork. All there is this sticker. It's completely blank, right? I believe there were 3,000 copies of these made, based on the fact that a Billboard article came out. The album debuted at #1 on Billboard, which is pretty exciting. And they said they attributed 3,000 of the sales to vinyl. Well, this is the only vinyl version around, so I would take that to mean there's only 3,000 of these. If you're a member of Pearl Jam's 10 Club, you pretty much have to be sitting in front of your email the moment they announce something, because if you don't click and buy within the first 5 to 10 minutes, most everything they put out is sold out. This was the same. I happened to be sitting in front of my email, clicked on it within moments and got one. It's limited, one per fan club member, which you have to pay a yearly fee to be a part of. I think it's $40 or $50 to be a part of the 10 Club, something that they've been doing for many, many years. But I got lucky. I got one of these, which was super exciting because I didn't want to have to wait till later in the year to actually hear it. I don't know if I would have lasted that long. But first impressions, I'm excited about the energy. I'm excited about the optimism. I'm excited to hear Eddie play with a full band that isn't Pearl Jam, which is kind of interesting. I mean, Eddie's done plenty of solo work in the past. This is his first foray into solo material, which was the Into the Wild soundtrack, 2007. Then his only other proper solo album, which was Ukulele Songs. And then most recently, he had a lot of contribution on the Flag Day soundtrack. So if you're looking at Earthling, and you're thinking, hey, I love all these. Oh, sure, Earthling's going to be great. I wouldn't quite go that far because Earthling is a very different album than all of Eddie's other solo material. And that's primarily, at least, again, having a week to live with this record, primarily just because of the atmosphere of the record and the players on the record, If you look at Into the Wild, certainly Ukulele Songs, and even Flag Day, for some perspective, it's very stripped down. It's very raw. A lot of acoustic-based instruments, very chill vibe for the most part. Earthling is not that. It's got some quieter moments. It's got some softer moments and softer songs, but there's a lot of energy on this record. First of all, you've got to keep in mind who's playing on the record. So you have Andrew Watt, who's the producer, who I was not familiar with until this record. He has produced a ton of top 40 music, and he started to get into some rock. He produced Ozzy's last studio record, I think is his biggest claim to fame as far as rock is concerned. So I wasn't quite familiar, but he's all over the record, playing just about every instrument. In fact, I think he holds down the bass across the majority of the tracks. I think he adds a lot of guitar, and certainly from a production standpoint, he's all over it. But you also have an all-star cast of musicians coming in and out. So you have Josh Klinghoffer, who is former Red Hot Chili Peppers, who is now kind of in the Pearl Jam family and touring with them. You have Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, an absolute powerhouse drummer. That is one of the things that I took away from seeing the band live and now hearing the record is Chad Smith's all over this thing, and that's undeniable in regards to how great of a drummer he is and how powerful of a drummer he is. But then you have a ton of guests on this record as well. You've got Glenn Hansard, I believe, plays on it, and especially and certainly does in the live format. You've got an amazing roster of guest stars like Ben Tench from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, playing on the track Long Way. You've got Stevie Wonder, you've got Elton John, you've got Ringo Starr. So just quite a cast of musicians contributing to this album, which again is what makes it such a different album to my ears as far as Eddie Vedder is concerned. This pressing itself is actually fantastic. I've been really excited to be living with it. It does have a label with the a track listing on it, so it's not completely blank. There's side A, there's side B. Side A is the standout to me. You've got the leadoff track, Invincible, which is a really optimistic, uplifting track and a great way to kick off the record. It was completely unexpected for me when I put it on. It was not what I was expecting to hear, not after hearing The Long Way and The Halves, you know. And then you've got a number of tracks on the A side that are really, really energetic. Power of Right, Fallout Today, I think, The Dark. Then you have Brother the Cloud, which is a really great track. So again, the whole A side to me is fantastic, and I'm really enjoying it. The B side, which is where the majority of the guests come in, like I mentioned, Stevie and Elton and Ringo play on a number of the B side songs. And I'm starting to get into those too. It's taking me a little longer. They're definitely a little more outside the box from what I'm used to hearing from Eddie as far as stylistically, from a songwriting standpoint, from a musicianship standpoint. But all in all, really enjoying the record. I think my main point is just, you know, again, if you're expecting what you've heard from Eddie in the past as it pertains to his solo albums, or certainly his solo tours, which have always been stripped down, it's again, it's something different, and for me that's refreshing. And I think it really, to me, it really is a place in time. You got to imagine that, you know, Eddie and all of these guys were unable to tour for the last 2.5 years because of the pandemic. And this is the record where, you know, you kind of get your buddies together, you get them in a room and you jam and you make up some songs. And from all of the interviews I've read and seen that Eddie's been doing as far as press is concerned to promote the album, he said it all happened very organically, happened very quickly as far as the recording process. And I think that really shows. You can tell these guys were having fun. You can tell they were, you know, in a creative zone and just kind of making it up in real time, which Eddie has said is how it kind of came together. So that really excites me when I get that context, to hear that it helps you listen to the album through kind of a different lens, if you will. So I've been able to do that. I've been living with it. I don't know if it's going to grow on me long term. You know, some albums, they're great when they first come out and you really play them a lot, and then it just kind of fades and you don't really know if you're ever going to go back to it again, regularly at least. I'm sure I'll play it, you know, play it sporadically, but I just don't know. I'm undecided if this is going to really grow on me or not. All I can say is right now I am really enjoying it. It's great to hear Eddie. It's great to hear the energy in his voice and the kind of passion behind these songs. And again, I just think there's a really optimistic, kind of energetic approach to this record, which is really, really great to hear. And again, I think it just kind of shows where these guys were at, cooped up in a studio, having fun, and getting to play music again together. Because for a lot of musicians, these guys know different. You just couldn't do it over the last couple of years, not in a live setting. So now the band's on the road. They've got a short tour, which, you know, if I had to guess, would probably be the only tour this band in this incarnation ever performs you know, these songs. Like, I don't think you'll see the availability of Chad Smith and Glenn Hansard, and I think they've got Chad Chaney on bass from Jane's Addiction now, and then you've got Josh and Andrew Watt as well as Eddie. Like, the reality of all of them being free again, or even a portion of them being free again to play these types of songs is probably not going to happen. So if you're lucky enough to see this tour, I think that's a treat. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for me to be able to get to any of these shows. But like I said, I did get to see them at the Ohana Fest, where they teased some of these tracks. Certainly played the lead single. And it was great to see some of the Flag Day songs, which are great as well, and Glenn Hansard's all over. So again, I'm very optimistic about the record and it growing on me over time, and it's been a fantastic and a fun listen over the past week or two since I've got the vinyl. Very appreciative to be able to get my hands on it. So that's my quick kind of honest review of Earthling. Like I said, lifelong Pearl Jam fan, so when something along these lines, you know, hits my turntable, it's definitely something I want to, you know, live with, and definitely wanted to share my opinion of it. I would love to hear what you're thinking if you've listened to the record, if you're an Eddie or a Pearl Jam fan, because I think it is different enough to elicit, you know, a unique point of view and an interesting opinion versus just being, you know, another acoustic-based Eddie record or another, you know, Pearl Jam record, which hopefully will come at some point soon. But so let us know what you think in the comments. Really appreciate you guys watching as always. I'm going to keep listening to Earthling and see if it grows on me. I would love to hear if you're having a similar opinion or experience. This has been Talking About Records. We will see you again next time. Stick on the channel. I'll pop some more videos up here, including one about my Pearl Jam collection that if you haven't seen, you might enjoy. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.